Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for you joining me. Welcome to today's Daf 35 Omad A from Chati Mesechet Menachot. Let's dive straight in. The rabbi said to Abai, what is different about the case of exchanging an inner passage for an outer one and an outer passage for an inner one, such that the phylacteries are not fit? The reason is that this passage, which needs to see the air, i.e., to be placed on the outer side, does not see it, and that passage which does not need to see the air does see it. But in a case where one exchanges an outer passage for the other outer one, or an inner passage for the other inner one, it should be fit as well, as this passage which needs to see the air of the right side sees the air of the left side, and that passage which requires to see the air of the left side sees the air of the right side. Rather, there is no difference between any of these cases, and any change in the order renders the phylacteries unfit. Rabbi Hanani says, the Rav says, the requirement to have tisora, the requirement of tisora in the phylacteries is the halachot and misdemeanors from Sinai. This means that one must cover the openings below the compartment with hide, as maintained by Rav. Some authorities rule that the compartments and the tisora want to be fashioned from a similar height. As in the Ram Sefer Hava, Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah of the Sefer Torah 3:1, or Chaim 32:44, and see the halacha there. The phylacteries. A tisora, according to Rashi, this refers to the lower part of the box of phylacteries, which looks like a wide board and serves as a base of the compartment in which the passages are placed. Rashi writes that after the parchment is folded into the compartments, which are like fingers in a glove, one then folds over the hide beneath them to seal them from below. Others maintain that one does not use the same hide for this purpose. Rather, one takes a thicker hide, which is folded in two and has a hole in the top half, in which the compartment is holding the passages on Shechet Rabbeinu Yitzchak. At the base of the phylacteries upon which the components rest is halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai. Abai said the requirement to have, it's got the Hebrew word ma'abarta of phylacteries. Requirement of ma'abarta in the phylacteries is a halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai. This means that the Torah must be long on one side, where it contains a passageway, a mibarta, through which the strap passes. One should cut off some of the hide of the mibarta slightly on both sides, so that it is not as wide as the tisora, in order that the square of the tisora will be conspicuous. And Rambam Sefer Hava, Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah of Sefer Torah 3:1, Shulchan Aruch Chaim 32:44, i.e., the passageway through which the straps are inserted is halacha admitted to Moses from Sinai. And Abai said the requirement to have the letter shin protruding on the phylacteries of one's head. So what does that mean? It's halacha admitted to Moses from Sinai that the bolts of the phylacteries on the head must have an embossed letter of shin on either side. If one forms a shin using a mold, one must push out the letter itself. In other words, one may not form it indirectly by forming an area on the letter, e.g. by lowering the area around the shape, leaving the letter raised. Shin on the right side of the box has 3 branches, like the standard letter shin, while the one on the left side has 4 branches. Shimusha Rabba rules that if one reversed which letter is on which side the phylacteries are fit, and that's in the Rambam Sefer Hava, Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah of Sefer Torah 1, Shulchan Chaim 42:42, which one had to achieve by pressing into the shape of that letter is halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai. Abai further says, and there is a requirement that the furrow between each of the compartments of phylacteries of the head reach the places of the stitches. The furrow between each of the compartments of phylacteries of the head must reach the places of the stitches. If they did not reach all the way down, the phylacteries are fit, provided that it is clear from the furrow that there are 4 compartments. Likewise, the point of the letter shin must reach the place of the stitches below. The halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Abai, as it is stated in both explanations of the verse. The Rambam Sefer Hava, Hilchot Tefillah Mezuzah of Sefer Torah 3:11, Chaim 30:40-43. Some commentators maintain that this refers not to the furrow between the compartments but to the shin. It would seem that the lowest part of the shin must reach the stitches of the tisora. The custom is to follow both opinions of the Rosh. The tisora to which the compartments are sewn. Rav Dimi of Nahadia says, once it is noticeable that there is a furrow between each of the compartments, it is not necessary for them to reach all the way to the Torah. And the Abai says, with regard to this parchment, upon which one writes the passages of phylacteries, the scribe must examine it before writing, as perhaps it has a flaw, i.e. perforation and complete writing is required. As stated on 34a, this is derived from in Shavaitem, Ukshavtam, Deuteronomy 6:9, which means that it should be complete writing. Ketiva Tama. This verse teaches that any letter that is not encircled with blank parchment on all four sides is not valid, and that there may not be a perforation in any letter. That's 29a. And that requirement would not be fulfilled if the letter was perforated. Rav Dimi of Nahadia says, no prior examination is required, rather the court examines it as one writes that any perforation which the ink covers is discarded. Rabbi Yitzchak says, the requirement that the straps of phylacteries be black, the halacha has been mentioned that the straps of phylacteries must be painted black on the side facing outward. On the side facing inward, there may be any color on trees except for red, and the sides be turned around, in which case people would say that they were stained with the blood of a wound. Likewise, the hide of the compartment should be black. Some say this is based on the general requirement that items used for a mitzvah must be beautiful, as derived from the verse, "This is my God, I will beautify him," in Exodus 15:2, which is interpreted to mean one should beautify himself before God in the performance of mitzvot. Others maintain there is a specific halacha that the compartments must be black. Mezuzah b'Sefer Torah, T14 Shulchan Aruch Chaim 33. See the Mishnah Berurah there. It's a halacha that is made from Sinai. The Gemara raises an objection from Abai. One main type of phylacteries only with straps of the same type. Straps must be made from hide, and it does not matter whether they are green or black or white. Nevertheless, one should not make red straps because this is deprecatory. I should say that to him, as it looks as he has wounds on his head, and is also due to something else, either as people suspect him of engaging in sexual intercourse with a menstruating woman and getting blood on the straps. The Gemara cites the continuation of that bite to the Rabbi Huda said, there was an incident involving Rabbi Akiva's student who would tie his phylacteries with stripes of sky blue wool rather than hide, and Rabbi Akiva did not say anything to him. Is it possible that righteous man saw a student doing something improper and did not object to his conduct? So he said to Rabbi Huda, yes, it's possible that he should act improperly, as Rabbi Akiva did not see him, but if he had seen him, he would not have allowed him to do so. The verse continues, there was an incident involving Harkanos, son of Rabbi Elazar ben Harkanos. So to give a little bit of a background here, also called Rabbi Elazar the Great, Rabbi Elazar ben Harkanos lived during the period of the destruction of the Second Temple. Rabbi Elazar was the son of a wealthy family that traced his lineage to Moses. He began to study Torah only age of 20 when he went to Jerusalem to study under Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai had great esteem for Rabbi Elazar and considered him the greatest of his disciples, so much so that he claimed he was equal to all the sages of the Jewish people. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai further described him as a plastered well that does not lose a drop, as his learning was based mostly on the tradition he received from his teacher. His approach differed from his teacher in that he tended to agree with the opinions of Beis Shammai. Rabbi Eliezer began to teach Torah before the destruction of the temple, and was among Rabbi Yochanan's students who joined him in founding the great yeshiva in Yavna after that tragedy. He married Emma Shalom, the sister of the Nasi Rabban Gamliel of Yavna, in a wake of fundamental dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and the other sages regarding the process of halachic decision-making. Rabbi Gamliel excommunicated Rabbi Eliezer, and that's from Bava Metzia 59a to b, which is interpreted to mean that one should beautify himself before God performs the mitzvah. I said that. Would tie his phylacteries with strips of purple wool, and his father did not say anything to him. Is it possible that the righteous man saw his son do something improper and did not object to his conduct? The sages said to him, yes, it is possible that his son acted improperly, as Rabbi Eliezer did not see him, but if he had seen him, he would not allow him to do so. This concludes the Baita. The Gemara explains the objection from the Baita. In any event, the Baita teaches it does not matter whether the straps are green or black or white. Whereas Rabbi Yitzchak maintained that it's a halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai that the straps and the phylacteries must be black. The Gemara answers that this is not difficult. Here the Baita is referring to the inside of the straps, which touch the body. They may be any color other than red. Conversely, there, when Rabbi Yitzchak says that the straps of phylacteries must be black, he's speaking of the outside of the straps. In what way is it difficulty? If the Baita is discussing the inside of the straps, or the matter or problem or something else is there with the straps that the inside that are red on the inside. After all, the side is not seen. They will answer sometimes the straps become reversed, and therefore these concerns are applicable. It is taught by the requirement that the phylacteries be square. The image shows the square shape of the compartment stitching and the tihora from the bauta. Is halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai that both phylacteries of the arm and phylacteries of the head must be square? This means along their seams and the diagonals as stated by Rav Papa, the ratio between all the sides and the diagonals should be constant. This halacha applies both to the base of the phylacteries as well as to the box that sits on the base. They do not need to be a perfect cube, and therefore the height of the box need not be the same dimension as its length and width. And more citing the Rambam, some say that in a case where the phylacteries were originally square, if they became damaged and no longer square, they must be repaired. Rambam says, "V'hava hechat tefillah mezuzah v'seva Torah 3:1 Shulchan Aruch Orach 33:3." Some commentators explain that Rav Papa's statement that square means along their seams and that diagonals serves to explain the Baita. The square that is a halacha to Moses from Sinai is the one along the seams and diagonals, because the compartments themselves need not be square. See Tosfot and Mordechai's side accustomed to fashion the tops of phylacteries on circular. Others maintain that the time of the Baita is referring to the compartments themselves, and Rav Papa is adding that the stitching which links the compartment to the Torah must also be square. I.e., one must not stretch the threads so tight that the hide on one side shrinks. Rashi see Rosh and the Shittim Better Society Rashi. The Rosh further states that the Torah itself must be square, and for that reason, one cuts some of the hide on the sides of the Mehabata. It is halacha transmitted to Moses from Sinai. Said that. But Papa says about this halacha, square means along the seams and the diagonals, i.e., they must be perfectly square where the compartments are sewn to the Torah. The Gemara suggests, let us say that the Mishnah supports this opinion, making it 24b. One who fashions his phylacteries in a round shape, and there's a picture here of the phylacteries found in a Karaganiza, which is round. As indicated by a statement of the income, the requirement of the phylacteries be square was not observed in all places with regard to the phylacteries of the arm. The touch with regard to the phylacteries of the head, proof of this can be seen from this rendition of phylacteries found in the Karaganiza. One who fashions his phylacteries in a round shape, like a knot, does not fill the mitzvah at all. As from the Rambam Sefer Hava Tefillah the Sefer Torah 4:3. Exposes himself to one who fashions his phylacteries in a round shape, exposes himself to danger, and does not enable him to fill the mitzvah of phylacteries. Rav Papa said this is no support, as one can say that the Mishnah is referring to phylacteries that are fashioned like a knot, i.e., their underside is rounded, and therefore there is a danger that if he strikes his head on the wall, the underside will press into his head and injure him. By contrast, if the underside is flat, one might have thought that it is fit, despite the fact that it is not square. Therefore, the body teacher from that oxygen must be square. And Funda says, with regard to phylacteries of the head, as long as the surface of the outer hide is intact, what does that mean? In the case where the hide of two adjacent compartments of phylacteries of the head become torn, if the compartments are old, the phylacteries don't fit. If they are new, then they remain fit, provided that the hide of the seat of the compartments and the external hide of them are intact. What are considered new phylacteries? They're considered new in any case if one were to pull pull them by the straps, the component would stretch and open. If it does not open, the phylacteries are classified as old. The Ramah adds that there is an opinion that disqualifies the phylacteries in the case of new ones and deems old ones fit. And that's from the Rashi and the Rosh, and therefore one should act stringently in accordance with both opinions. If two compartments that are not adjacent to one another become torn, the phylacteries are fit, even if they are old. If three compartments become torn, then the phylacteries don't fit. The Shulchan Aruch by the rule arises in the case where the stitches of the phylacteries are opened, if these are two stitches alongside one another, or three stitches, even if they are not alongside one another, the phylacteries don't fit. In what case is the statement said? In a case of old phylacteries, new ones remain fit, provided that the base of the phylacteries is intact, and according to the opinion of the Raf and the Rambam. With regard to the definition of new and old in this context, if one were to hold part of the hide whose stitch is tore and hang the phylacteries on it, and it is strong enough to bear the weight, these phylacteries are considered new. And one cannot hang the phylacteries in this manner, as the hide was split, the phylacteries are old. Some authorities maintain the opposite. The new phylacteries don't fit, whereas the old ones are fit, the Rashi and the Rosh, in accordance with the standard version of the text of the Gemara. One should therefore be stringent in accordance with both opinions about Sefer Hava, in the middle of the Sefer Torah 18, Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim 1-2. Hide is not torn, they are fit, even if the hide between the two compartments has torn. Rav Chesed says, if two of the walls between the components tore, such phylacteries don't fit, but if three of these inner walls tore, they are unfit. Rav said, concerning that which you said, that if two of the walls between the components tore, they are fit, we said this only if the inner walls that tore are aligned with each other. An example of this is that if there is a tear in the first and second compartments, while the second remains intact, the case where the torn walls are aligned with each other is when a tear is found in adjacent walls, such as the first and second compartments. Rashi cites an alternative far more lenient interpretation than the phrase not aligned with each other applies even if the walls are adjacent, but the perforations are not exactly opposite one another. They are not adjacent to one another, but if the torn walls are aligned with each other, the phylacteries don't fit. And furthermore, even in a case where the torn walls are aligned with each other, we say that they are unfit only with regard to new phylacteries, as the hide is certainly defective. What does that mean? Some commentators explain that it is only in the case of new phylacteries that it is unseemly for them to be torn or have holes, whereas this is expected in old ones due to regular wear and tear, as used to move compressors. Others explain that in new ones, where the shape of the hide is not yet settled, there is more of a concern that they might come apart and the partitions might fall out, whereas in old ones the compartments have already strengthened to do it. There is an alternative version of the text according to which old phylacteries don't fit, as the tear is likely to extend. The version of Muki Yosef, which is less likely in the case of new and see the Rambam, as the hide is certainly defective. With regard to old phylacteries, no problem with it, as they tore due to aging. Abai said to Rav Yosef, what are the circumstances of new phylacteries and what are the circumstances of old phylacteries? Rav Yosef said to him, in a case where one holds the hide and pulls it, it returns it to its place. The halem, the meaning of the Aramaic term both here and elsewhere is attachment, an object that is attached or adhered to another. This word is described by some linguists as the root hey lam and mem, which is found in rabbinic usage as well as in Arabic, Mandiek, and modern Hebrew, e.g. when one says that the crown suits Holem the man, these phylacteries are considered old, and in the other case, where hide that was pulled does not return to place, they are considered new. Thank you very much for listening, and all the best. Bye.